Hello, everybody. Thanks to join this webinar regarding TDMS Pro, our latest software platform for the testing of protection relays. The architecture is based on four main pillars. The first one of the most important, is regarding the relay settings. Is a software dedicated to the management of the setting file that is possible to export from every relay manufacturer. This file can be imported into the platform, and automatically all the parameters are displayed in the most convenient shape. Then there is a possibility to make the configuration of the test set. Our test set is called DRTS. With this software, it's possible to adapt the hardware configuration to the test you are going to do. All the software modules, there is one software for each protected function, can be combined into a test plan thanks to the test plan editor. In this way, it's possible to collect all the results in a single test report. Once you have your report, through the report manager, it's possible to customize the tables present in the pages. You can add and remove information as you wish. One important aspect of the relay setting manager is that it's possible to import the setting file directly in their native format. For example, RIO, XRIO, XML, TXT, CSV. It's very convenient because you don't need to find third-party software to do any kind of conversion. You can import as it is exported from the software of each and every manufacturer. In case you don't have a file, or you don't want to import a file, there is a list of dedicated templates that give you the possibility to input manually all the parameters. The DRTS configurator, as I told you before, gives you the possibility to adapt the hardware present in your DRTS in order to define the best configuration for your test. Configuration like the GPS, you can enable the GPS, you can set the time of the test that you want to start. You can decide how many binary input and output you want to use. You can decide the output configuration. For example, if you want to connect in parallel the current generator. Everything is possible to be done here in the DRTS configurator. The test plan editor gives the possibility to create a sequence of tests by recalling every software module dedicated to a specific protecting function. This is specifically designed for multifunction relays. The relay can be complex, can have inside 2 or 3 different protecting functions. So it is very useful to have a test plan editor in order to program all your tests, and in the end have a single report with all your results inside. The report can be customized and in the end can be exported into PDF or Microsoft Office format. In TDMS Pro, we introduced the concept of license. There are two types of license, the standard and the advanced. In this picture, you can see what are the test modules included in standard and what is included in advanced. I have to say that the advanced one has inside all the software modules. There is this difference because we decided to give the possibility for a price reduction in case the user is not interested to use all the software module. To make an example, if you are an operator that works in medium voltage grid, and most probably you will never have to test distance protection or differential protection or you will never have to take care about the IC650 protocol, then what you can do is to ask for the standard license. Then you can ask a price reduction, so you will not pay for software that you will never use. The license is based on the serial number of the set, and this license can be imported in multiple computers. So the same license can be used in any number of computer. So there is no limitation from this point of view. I say once again, we introduced the license not to add the cost to our devices, but to give a possibility to reduce the cost in case you don't need all the software modules. TDMS Pro can work with the model DRTS 33, 34, 64, and 66. This means that cannot be used with the previous version of the DRTS. This means DRTS, DRTS 3, 3 Plus, and 6. This cannot work with TDMS Pro. This must be these models, the older models, must be used with the previous platform that will be available also in the future. We are not dismissing the previous platform, and the two platforms, TDMS Pro and the previous one, can be installed together in the same computer. So they do not overlap. They can stay installed together. My name is Simone Meneghin. I'm a sales regional area manager. These are my contacts. Here you can find my email, my phone number, and my LinkedIn profile. I am a regional sales area manager, but my previous experience was as an application engineer here in Altanova. And before, I had 3 years experience of a commissioning engineer, in particular a substation and protection engineer for big companies such Siemens and Eterna, the Italian TSO. This slide will be presented also in the end of the demonstration of the software, so you have time later to take note about this information. For this webinar, we are using the platform GoToWebinar. This gives you the possibility to post your question in the dedicated section. You can also find the datasheet of the TDMS Pro in the hands out section. Please post your question. In the end of the demonstration, I will read all of them, and in the end, I will give you an answer. Okay, so let's start use TDMS Pro. This is the home page. If you move the mouse on the icon dedicated to the protective module, all the icons that belongs to each and every software module are highlighted. You can see, you can recognize here there is a relay setting manager, the DRTS configurator, and here, for example, the software dedicated to the distance protection. As a first example, I want to introduce the platform with distance protection. Okay. I have 2 screens, so the software is launched on the second screen, and now, okay. First of all, I want to introduce the interface. The interface of the software module is very similar, almost identical between all of them. You will always find on the left side the section dedicated to the test settings. You can see here there is the, for example, the phase volt. You can decide the test current, and you can decide the type of the test you want to do. In the central section, there will be always the trip characteristic. In this case, is empty because at the moment, I have not uploaded any characteristic. This will be the first step. So that's why it's empty now. And on the right side, there is the table with the test and the results. Okay, so if I want to start my first test, first of all, I have to upload the trip characteristic. In order to upload the trip characteristic, what I have to do is to use the relay setting manager. So you go into the ribbon bar, you select setup, and then relay settings. Okay, let's press on new, and then you see all the possibilities. If you want to create a test for a specific model, just select here specific model. You can select from this list the vendor, the series, and the model. Once you have selected this this model, then you have the possibility to import the file. This is a Siemens relay. This means that you can import an X-ray file, or you can continue without import. The first example will be not to import a file, but continue without importing, to show how the software is guiding you in the configuration of the settings. After the button is pressed, there is a wizard. This means there is a guided procedure that is guiding you. The first information is related to what protective function you want to test. I selected the Siemens 7SA 61X. It is a distance protection. So inside that model, you will see only distance, phase over current, and earth over current. Is not present, for example, the differential protection, because that model is not a differential protection. So the concept is that based on the model you select, only the available function for that specific model will be possible to be selected. Okay, I select distance. These are nominal values. I can leave like that, just numbers. And okay, once it's finished, you can see here is indicated that is a Siemens 7SA 61X. This is the trip characteristic. And these are the parameters that represent this characteristic. The name used for each parameter is the same name that you can find in the relay. So this is very helpful, because if you have the parameter printed on the paper and you want to input manually every parameter, you can immediately identify the parameter by the name, because this will be exactly the same name. If you modify the value here, the characteristic also will be modified. For example, I reduce this, and you see that this segment will cross the vertical axis at 1 ohm. If I change, I put 2, you see that is following you. So this is very easy. Okay, once the characteristic is the one you are interested into, just press exit, and the characteristic is here inside. So you can see it's very straightforward. The characteristic is here, and now I have to test test the characteristic by selecting the test type here in this combo box. Click and test is the most fast and easy way to test your relay, because you click in the characteristic, and if you are connected to the instrument, the current and voltage are immediately generated, and you see in the table the result. In this moment, I'm not connected, so the only thing I can do is to add the test. You see every click will add one line into this table. you will see here the impedance, the module, the angle, the fault type, and the nominal trip time according to the zone of the test point. I prepared some videos in order to show you the software in action. This gives me the possibility to go quickly. If I have to do the test, a real test with the DRTS and the relay, I will use a lot of time in configurations, wirings, and so on. So you will see all the tests by means of short videos. Okay. Well, so the first operation will be the connection to the instrument. We select the click and test. We click in the zone 1 in this case. The test is immediately executed, and we see in the column of the measured time the time that actually has been measured. So you have an immediate feedback about your test conditions. If everything is fine with click and test, is a clear indication that all the wirings are correct. So there is the column of the pass and fail. There is the green flag here because all the tests are okay. In case the test is not okay, there is the red indication. This is a click and test, so the only parameter that can be taken into account is the trip time. Let me put pause for a moment. These two tests are not okay because the measured time, you can see 0.873, is a little bit higher than the maximum time, that is 0.870. This minimum and maximum time are calculated according to the tolerance that are present in the test settings. After the video, I will show you all the windows that give the possibility to modify, for example, the tolerances. Let's continue with the video. Okay. So again, in this part of the characteristic, the trip time is not respecting the nominal one. That's why there is this kind of indication. Very well. So I mentioned you before that there is the section dedicated to the tolerances. We go to, let me see, no, setup, tolerances. So there is a very complete table where you can, for each type of fault, phase fault, double phase fault, or three-phase fault, you can set all the tolerances per each zone. This is the values for zone 1, 2, 3, and so on. This is correlated to the trip time, and these are the tolerances related to the impedance. The tolerances around the borders can be shown like this. So this gives you the tolerances band around each and every border. In the graphical area, you can perform operations like zooms. With the mouse wheel, you can zoom in and zoom out, and also make a pan. If you are interested to see a detailed situation like this, you can then click and see the behavior of your relay. Okay, Click and test is the first test that I wanted to show you, but if you have a trip characteristic, you can decide not to do a click and test, but also a verify characteristic, like this. So you can select the start angle can be 0, and angle can be 350, and you can decide at what step you want to perform the test. You see here around the border, okay, it's more clear in this way. The cross means that the border will be tested around this position. If I increase the step, you will see that the number of crosses will increase. I can also decide to do the test only for zone 1 and 2 in order to reduce the number of tests. If I am interested only in these two, I don't have to waste time to do all the other tests about other zones. I have a video for this. This is the test preparation, so it's a sort of repetition of what I already explained to you. In the meantime, I see that one of you is asking questions, are very specific. So in the end of the distance protection test module, we'll answer to some of them. Okay, the test has been started. So I hope you can see there is a blinking cross here that gives you the indication where the characteristic has been testing. The algorithm is performing a test around this position, a little bit above and a little bit below the border. It's important to highlight the fact that the direction in which these tests are performed is perpendicular to the border. So in case we are doing a test, for example, here, the direction will be perpendicular. This is important in order to get the most reliable trip time, because it's not convenient to test this border using the same angle of the border. The trip time will not be reliable at all. Okay, you can see that the test is made of 12 points, and the total time will take just a few minutes. And the result of this test is already a good indication that everything is fine. Okay, let's finish it. Okay, so these two columns will include the value of the result. So in the end of the verification, here will be the value will be changed from the nominal one into the real one. If I go a little bit back with the video, you will see. So the nominal is 5, and in the end of the test, okay, in this case it is perfectly 5, but if something is different, will be updated. Okay. In this case, the value is very, very precise, so we will not appreciate. Okay, but for your information, in case the value is not corresponding to the nominal one, the final version will be written inside this column. Okay. Another possibility to test the characteristic is this one, called verify borders. Imagine you want to test only few segments like this. If you want to test only this and this segment, you can come here in this verify border section. Then you decide per each segment how many tests you want to do, like 3 or 10, for example. Or you want to test only one zone, like this. So you are free to do all the selection you want. Okay, this is an example. You press OK, and then the tests are added. The test will be executed exactly in the same way of the previous test. What you will see is a blinking cross around the intersection you are testing. I have a video also for this. We will not see it completely because the first part will be exactly the same. So I go a little bit ahead. What I want to show you is what happened in case there is a fail in my results. So we are testing this part of the characteristic, and the result is that the border is not passing through this angle. The indication here is fail, and the indication on the graph is a square. So a green circle is a test that is passed, but in case the border has not been found, then there is a square. So what we can do is to do, for example, a click and test in order to see where the relay is tripping and where it's not tripping anymore. We see that for this point, the expected value for the time is timeout, but actually the relay is tripping. So for this reason, the test is failed. So we do some other click and test until I find, like in this case, the position where the relay is not tripping. So red points means that the test is failed. So we can repeat the test several times until I see clearly where is the border angle. I go ahead. So you see the border, the real inclination is this one. Okay. Okay, I will answer to some of the questions because are correlated to the distance protection function, so it's better to answer now. Okay. Where I put the operating time. the operating time is inside the relay setting. Here, for zone 1, the trip time is this. For zone 2 is this. For 3, and so on. So this template is dedicated to Siemens 7S1 Sec1X. That's why you see the parameter in this position. So, but in general, all the settings of the relay are inside the relay setting manager. Then there is a question: if we have no characteristic, is there a way to find the characteristic? Yes. If you notice, there is a verify characteristic, the test verify characteristic, because there is a characteristic. But in case, for example, I close and I restart again, there is no characteristic, like in this case, then there is the search. So if there is the characteristic, this will be modified into verify characteristic. Hope this is answering to your question. Then during the test, if I have some fail point, can I repeat the fail one without repeating the other one? Yes. So just let me add some test here. I'm just clicking. You can operate on the table. You can, for example, imagine you want to repeat these two. Then you right-click with the mouse, and then you do, for example, repeat selected test. And there is another question like, what is the characteristic search? Okay. The algorithm will automatically look for impedances values where different trip times are present. Imagine that there is a zone 1 here and zone 2 here. The only way to understand that this is zone 1 and this is zone 2 is to measure the trip time. So different trip times will indicate that the border is between two zones. So trying to explain in a simple way, the algorithm will do several tests in order to look for different trip times. Once they find magnitude and angle of impedances where this threshold has been found, then there is indication in the table that that value is a border between two zones. Okay, so for the sake of time saving, I will close the distance protection argument and open the phase over current. The first aspect that I think you will appreciate is that the layout of the windows is very similar of the previous one. As I told you, on the left, the test settings, in the middle, the trip characteristic, and on the right, the result table. We see here that click and test is still available, but also other tests. I prepared some videos that show the test in action. But before to show the video, I want to give you the idea that also for overcurrent, if you go into relay settings, you have the possibility to modify the characteristic like this. Then you can modify the time and also modify the directionality. like this. So you can play with the settings. And then you're ready to start your testing. Okay, so I will execute here the video. Okay. In the video, we can see also some action that you can do on the graphical layout. In case you don't need to see the trip sector because it's not a directional overcurrent relay, you can hide it. If you see in the ribbon bar, there is a section called layout dedicated to the panel management. So you can move from left to right the table or the characteristic. Okay, click and test. This means that will be generated this current. We expect a nominal time of 8 seconds, more or less. This is the time that has been measured, so the test is passed. Again, green dots belongs to tests that are okay. For the video, I intentionally removed the trip contact. That's why it was a timeout. Then it was a fail. Then I repeated it and will be passed. Every panel can be, let's say, disconnected by the main panel in order to adapt the panel according to your, let me stop a little bit, adapt to your screen size. In this moment, I'm using a wide screen. This is a 15 inches, high resolution. So I have space enough to see all the panels in a single window. But if I am in substation, typically I have laptops, sometimes old laptop with small screens. Then I need the possibility to adapt all the panels into present into the screen in the most convenient way. For example, I can hide what I don't need to see, or I can disconnect and reduce the size as in this example. For every test, we have this so-called waveform viewer, where we can see the waveform that belongs to the test current and test voltages. And we have the behavior of the digital input. So when the digital input change status, there is the indication with from thin to thick line. We have also markers. According to the position of the marker, on top of this window, there is the time of the position of each marker, and also the time difference between two markers. Okay, these are typical operations that a protection engineer is used to do after a test. So you can see if the time difference between the, like in this case, the pickup contact and the trip contact is the time that you expect. Okay, I receive a very specific question, so if I answer in the end, probably will not be so useful. So I answer to two questions. One is how can I add a new model from a specific relay manufacturer? Okay, you can add a specific model only if you receive from us specific files. So regularly we will update the platform, adding templates. So if you download, if you receive for the first time the TDMS, then you have, let's say, 10 models. Later on, you can add by means of files that we provide you. So it's a sort of upgrade file, let me say in this way. Then what is I limit and V limit? So these two, okay, these are the limits for the current and the voltage. The current generator cannot generate more than 32 amp, and the voltage generator not more than 300 volt. If we want to change this, we have to use the DRTS configurator that will be explained later in this presentation. Okay, let's continue. Okay. I want to show you now the manual control, and I want to, in the end, repeat the same test on the overcurrent relay by using the manual control. I'm going fast because this is a webinar where I want to show you as much as possible in limited time all the functionalities. Okay, manual control is a software that gives you the possibility to create your test. So it's not specific for specific protective function. This means that you can input manually voltage and current, will not come from calculation in this case. Let's put 30, and here you have the phasors. Then we can put 20 amp, can modify here. Okay, so you can input the value directly here. You can enable and disable binary input, normally open, normally close, not enabled. Representation can be in fundamental values, can be line-to-line values. So if I modify here, will change accordingly. I can also add zero sequence voltage. Okay, can also increase here a little bit. Okay. Then I can also do the symmetrical components, powers, and impedance. Okay, so in manual control, it is also possible to do quick test about distance protection. The trip characteristic is empty because in the relay setting has not been uploaded any characteristic. If I want to add the characteristic, is very easy. I go to setup, relay settings, new. In this case, I decide to select this one. Okay, this is the trip characteristic. I do not change values here because for this example it's not necessary. Exit. Now I can click on the characteristic and the values are automatically updated. Then I can add the test, and I see here the test that I added here in the table. Okay, I prepare the video. Okay, I am looking for a trip characteristic. So I will start from 2 amp. I want to add, let's say 10 tests, starting from 2 amp, and every step will be increased by 400 milliamp. Then I press add, and the 10 test has been added automatically. The columns are a lot because the parameters are, the number of parameters is huge, but I can decide to show only the column that I need. So you can see in the video, playing with the arrows, you can add and remove information. Then you can also save some preset combinations, simple like this, and then the column that you want to see are now selected. So here I'm adding 6 more tests. We can see in the column the voltage value and the current value, and in the trip time column, at the end of every test, you will see the trip time measured. Okay, so the first test has been done, more or less 10 seconds. Now more or less 8 seconds. So this is an indication that we are testing a time-dependent characteristic. In the status bar, in the bottom part of the screen, you can see also the progress bar. This moment we are at 43% of the total, now 50. So it is giving you also the information about how much time you expect. And now the trip time is not changing with the current like before, so is an indication that there are 2 more thresholds. If I want to plot the results, I can do it with this tool. I can decide what to put in the horizontal X, what to put on the vertical X, can be logarithmic. So I can decide to add one series, one current and one time. And this is the trip characteristic that I expect. Okay, manual control is let me finish here. Is a complex software. It's full of possibilities. You can do ramps, delta ramps, many things. We have no time to explore all of them. In the near future will be organized dedicated webinars for specific functionalities. So I will not use more time to explain every detail of this software. So if you like the software, you can watch the future webinar, and you will find interesting information regarding many aspects. Okay. This software gives you the possibility to do ramps. For example, if I, instead of shot, decide to do a ramp, okay, I can do it only with fundamentals. For example, I want to start from 1 amp. So here, I want to make a ramp on the magnitude of the current. I will increase, let's say, 5 amp per second. The test will be 8 seconds. Then I press add, and you will see okay, sorry. Okay, you see this is the ramp of the current. So we can do ramp, we can do also delta shots. This is different. For example, I will add a few tests of like this. So the waveform viewer will help you to understand what are the waveforms that you will generate. Then you can also perform zooms. So it's a very powerful and complete tool in order that give the possibility to create your own test as you wish. The next module is the differential protection. I will show you the software by means of the video because most of the operations are similar to the others. So there is a, a trip characteristic. You can do click and test. This is a differential transformer characteristic. So above the line, the relay must trip. Below the line, the relay should not trip. If this happens, then all the test will be green. So I speed up a little bit. Okay, this is a test for harmonics. We have the possibility to do click and test also for harmonics. So on this horizontal axis is the percentage of second harmonic in this case. On the vertical axis, there is the differential current. So in this part of the characteristic, the relay should not trip. And if the harmonic content is more than the threshold set in the relay, then the relay should not trip because this is an harmonic block. So the video continue. We have also for this, same like all the other characteristic, the possibility to show the tolerances. Okay, so you see okay, I execute here the differential module just to give you another possibility to see that also in this module there is the setting manager where you click and then you can modify your characteristic. Let's say that I can do a test for the General Electric T60 transformer differential. Okay, so this is a dedicated template for that relay model. If I modify the vector group, there is also a picture here that change accordingly, ground or not, and so on. Then you press exit, and then the characteristic changes. Okay. There is a question regarding the setting of the differential protection. Yes. The question is, if there is no specific template, what happened? So what we do is this. So new, generic model, continue. I will select the differential transformer to windings in this case. Okay, this is nominal values for high voltage side, low voltage side. Okay, this is not a dedicated template to a specific model, is a generic model and is indicated here above. Then you can decide here the bias formula and also the type of characteristic, one slope, dual slope, and other more particular characteristic. And here you can set information like what is the reference winding for the phase compensation, if it is executed by the software internally with calculation or external with CTs, and other parameter. So this gives you all the flexibility, all the freedom to prepare your characteristic according to your relay model. Okay, the last software that I want to show you is the test plan editor. Okay, so it starts empty because I have to create the first one. So I press new. This section is dedicated to all the test modules that I will add. But the first two must be, and is mandatory, the relay settings and the DRTS configurator, because otherwise we will not be able to see or to pass the configuration to the module that will follow. So if I double click on this line, okay, this is the DRTS, sorry, the relay setting that I can change, can remove, so I can modify. So this is again a relay setting manager. In this part, you will see that in this file there are 4 protected functions: phase over current, earth over current, distance protection, and differential protection. Because if you want to test a multifunction relay, you can set all the settings for all the protected function at once, then you can perform the test. The RTS configurator, now is the moment to see how it look like. This is a file prepared for the DRTS 64. If I want to enable and disable binary input, for example, I click on this region, then it appears this window where I enable, in this case, 3 binary input, and I can decide if they are dry contacts or wet contact, and also what is the threshold of the voltage for each couple of binary input. Then I can click here. I can set if I want to limit the maximum voltage, this is the place where I can do it. If I want to limit it to 130 for V1, I can do it here. I can do the same here for V2, and I can So put another value for P3. So you are free to do what you want here. Then you apply and press OK. Here is where you enable and disable optionals. For example, I'm enable the internal GPS. So you can see it's very easy. Just click from gray to not gray color is the indication that that optional is activated. Then exit. Now I can add the test modules. I can add phase over current and distance, for example. If I want to modify this text, I can do it here below in order to give more meaningful indication, maybe not really settings, I could call it main protection. Group A, for example. This can be DRTS 64 GPS enabled. Phase over current can be false L1, and so on. If I want to add the test, I double click on this line, then the module is executed. I add the test I need, I press exit, and I see the test in the table. They are not executed yet, so there is no assessment and there is no trip time measured here. I can do the same for distance. Add a few tests. Okay. This is the part dedicated to the distance protection. So you can continue and add more and more modules in order to fulfill your needs of testing. As usual, I prepare a video where you can see the test plan editor in action. The test plan has been already created in the same way that I showed you before. The test is executed one by one. In the end of every test, the results. Okay, this is a message that is possible to insert in the middle of the sequence. You can add text and also images. These help the operator to be guided during his operation. You can give instruction like disconnect protection 1, connect protection 2, something like this. Also add images of schematics. Okay, in the end of the execution, in this video, will be presented all the features that you can do on the test plan itself, like the customization of the test report, and if you want to add or remove elements. Okay, so the green flag is an indication that the test has been executed and everything is fine. Now, in this example, we remove all the possible information, so the tables become very short. The first one is dedicated to the overcurrent and the second to the distance. Okay, so this not only the test values, but also the current and the voltage that has been used. So all these configurations are available in all the software modules because this is a common component. So all these operations are possible everywhere. That's why I decided to don't discuss about a report before and use the test explainer as a way to explain. This is interesting. There are two flags here. One is to run the test, and the second one is to include in the report. These are very useful because if you have a test plan, maybe a complicated test plan, where you have 50 tests, and for some reasons you cannot execute some of them, you can exclude by disabling this flag some part of the test plan, avoiding to delete the test. So you just decide to don't execute them. Or another situation is where you can execute everything, but not all the results are okay. For some reason, you don't want to show a report with failed tests, then you can exclude from the report. And in this part of the video, you can see. Okay, so this part has been included, and now you see that the corresponding table has been added. Okay, I can repeat this operation also here offline, not during the video. Look, if I want to remove the distance, you will see that these two lines will disappear. I can either click on this, either click here. Okay, if I remove the cover, is more because every time the report is updated and start from the first page. So let me remove the cover. Okay, so here is better. You can see include and exclude will be added. If you go down, you will see that the first table is the overcurrent and the second is the distance. If I remove from the report, you will see only the overcurrent part and not the distance. Okay, so I consider that for this webinar, that's all. I hope you had the correct idea about the new features, about how everything is easy to use, and about how much is integrated. So you see from every software module, you can open the relay settings, you can open the DRTS configuration, you can do whatever you wish in a very easy, in a very easy way. Okay. Let me open again the slide with my contacts, so you can take a note about this. If you want to be in touch with me for more information, you can send me an email, or if you need, you can call me at my number. Okay, so the webinar is finished. I want to thank you for your attention, for spend 1 hour together, and I hope to find you again in the future webinars. Now I will read the questions that in the meantime I received. Okay, there are quite a lot. Some of them are similar. Let me see. Can you please share this video? Many people are asking the video. In the end, you will receive a link to watch again the video. So you can watch all the time you want once you receive that link. Mr. Ketan Nakum is placing a lot of questions, very detailed questions. He would like to see also sequencer, power swing. Okay, all these functions will be shown in future webinars. So please follow our page. Very soon, new webinars will be organized and will be dedicated to specific functions. I cannot explain each and every software modules, each and every detail. Otherwise, this will not be a webinar for an introduction to the platform, but otherwise it become a complete training that can stay 1 week. Some of you is asking about how to download the software. The software will be available on the website soon. It's just a technical issue regarding the fact that we are renewing the Academy section. So once everything will be ready, everything will be available to you. In the meantime, if you need to receive the TDMS Pro, just send an email to me and I will make you in the position to receive a link for the download. Okay, there is another question, very specific. Mr. Leandro would like to see the 67N protection, the earth over current, with negative voltage polarization. Okay, there will be a dedicated section to this, as I mentioned before. Okay, other question regarding sequencer. Once again, in the future weeks, there will be dedicated section to sequencer and other functionalities. Then there is another question regarding how to open ComTrade files. Okay, so let me answer not by words. I just want to show that there is a possibility to upload the ComTrade files. There is a software here called the playback waveform. I execute the playback waveform. Okay, then I import ComTrade. I have a demo ComTrade here. Yes, so this is the ComTrade. I can see here. I can make zooms. I can also do some analysis on it. I can do this. I can, for example, add channels here. And if I move the cursors like this, you will see that the phasors will change according to the position of the phasors. Okay, so this is the software dedicated to the ComTrade files. It's full of functionalities, but again, there will be a dedicated section also to this. Is the software will be available? If the software will be available for Mac? No. This software runs only in Windows environment. There is one more question regarding licenses. Okay, I repeat once again, probably the one who is asking the question join the webinar later. Repeat. Okay. Okay, there are two types of license, the standard and the advanced. The advanced correspond to the complete platform, so all the software modules will be inside. And if you buy the DRTS and you decide to pay for the full price, then you get the full software platform. This will not add the cost. So if you already had an idea of the price of the device, you asked for a quotation in the past, you will see that for the same price as we did in the past, in the same price, we always provide, together with the instrument, the full platform. So again, with the same price, you will get also the advanced TDMS Pro license. But in case you are not interested to use the distance protection module, the differential, the 650, and also the test play editor, then you can ask for the standard license, and then you can get a price reduction. The standard and advanced license are based on the serial number of the device. This means that if you want to receive the license, then we have to be informed about the serial number of your device. For example, you already have the DRTS, and you wanted to see the TDMS, then you have to provide us your serial number. Okay, I don't see other questions. So thanks again. I hope you will have a good day or a good evening, depends from where you are connected. And hope to see you soon again here in these webinars. Bye-bye.